Welcome to The Reins of Leadership, the podcast dedicated to helping you lead with presence and influence with trust. I'm your host, Merinda Smith, business leadership strategist, sharing actionable insights on mindset, EQ and energy uniquely illuminated by wisdom gained alongside my equine partners. Hello and welcome back to The Reins of Leadership. Today I'm going to be talking about something that feels more urgent every single day. We're now in the fourth industrial revolution with artificial intelligence at the centre. And what I would like to bring is that emotional intelligence is about to become the most important skill for any leader, especially when we're in this age of AI. Think about it. AI is evolving at a mind-bending pace. It can analyse oceans of data, make complex decisions, and even create art and photos and God knows what else. And it is so fast and often more accurate than we can be. And so, are we worried? Are we scared about our jobs? Or are we having to make a change as a leader? And there is one thing that AI still can't do, and that is it can't feel. Sure, they say that AI can mimic empathy, but it doesn't actually experience it. And that gap, that's our human edge. That is about being human. And that's what will keep us essential as leaders in the world that's changing faster than ever. So you've probably heard emotional intelligence called a soft skill. Certainly it was when I started hearing about it. But it's not. It's anything but soft. It is that core survival skill that we need as humans and as leaders. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognise our own emotions and to regulate them, and to recognise emotions in others. It's about truly tuning into what others are feeling and then holding space for those difficult conversations. And in leadership, it's about leading with genuine care. So why is it so critical? Because we are biologically wired for connection. Our brains and nervous systems just thrive on the little things, the tone of someone's voice, that shared look, a person's posture. They're all subtle signals that build trust and collaboration, and that is something that AI simply can't replicate. And for me, this is where the horse metaphor really steps in. When you stand in a paddock with a horse, you're not just being an observer, you're in relationship, built entirely on presence and emotional honesty. And that horse is incredibly sensitive to the energy you bring into the space. It feels your breath, it sees your posture, and it senses your true intention. A horse doesn't care about your job title, your salary, or how smart you think you are. All that matters is how grounded and authentic you are in that exact moment. I've been practicing lately something very simple but incredibly powerful. It's heart-to-heart connection with my equines. You might have heard me mention this before. The heart of a horse is physically around 20 times larger than that of a human, not just in size, but in electromagnetic field. Studies from the HeartMath Institute show that the electromagnetic field of the horse's heart can extend several meters in all directions. And when we come into proximity, something incredible happens, especially when we open up our own heart. Our heart rhythms can start to sync. It is not just poetic, I'm not just saying this, it is physiological. When I stand quietly with my horse with no agenda, no halter, no expectation, just that presence, I can feel it. It's a kind of softening, sort of. My breath slows, I've noticed that. My nervous system drops into regulation. It's as if my own heart remembers how to lead, not from performance or pressure, but from coherence. The horse doesn't need me to do anything. It simply invites me to be. And in that space, I am so reminded that real leadership starts with connection, not head to head, but heart to heart. And isn't that exactly what emotional intelligence is at its core? The ability to feel into the space between us, to lead with awareness, not dominance, to listen, not just with our ears, but with our entire being. So as we continue to work in this world that's moving faster and faster with more technology, more AI, more noise, I find myself coming back to this ancient intelligence, the wisdom of the heart, the power of presence, and the leadership lessons we were never meant to forget, the ones the horses still remember. So as AI takes over more of the number crunching and cognitive heavy lifting, what's left for us? What becomes our greatest value? It's our uniquely human ability to feel empathy, to act with compassion, to trust our intuition, and to communicate with nuance. I use AI daily. It's part of my work, my rhythm, and my creative process. It helps me organise, generate ideas, streamline systems, and even support my clients more efficiently. In many ways, it's a bit like having an extra set of hands, or sometimes an extra brain in the room, which I so need to cross-check what I've written. But here's what I know to be true. AI doesn't replace my connection. It doesn't replace my presence. It supports me, but it doesn't define me. The strength of my leadership doesn't come from how many tools I use. It comes from how present I am when I use them. My connection to myself, to others, to the moment, that's what gives my work depth and integrity. And I know I hear it regularly from my clients. And it's whether I'm writing, coaching, recording, or strategizing, I bring me to the table. Not just my mind, but my energy, my awareness, and my heart. So I believe that the secret to using technology well is not about resisting it or handing over our power to it. It's about anchoring deeply into who we are, so that we can use these tools as an extension of our values, not to replace them. So yes, I use AI, and I also spend time with my ponies. I breathe, I walk barefoot foot on the earth, I listen deeply to what's unspoken, and that's what makes me effective. That's what keeps me aligned. That allows me to lead human to human and heart to heart. So when you've got strong emotional intelligence, you can guide your team through uncertainty without getting swept away by fear. You can create true psychological safety when new technology is shaking things up. You can make tough, ethical decisions that a machine driven only by data can never make. And you can build the kind of deep, resilient relationships that no algorithm can ever touch. It's no exaggeration to say that mastering your emotional intelligence will be the key to surviving and thriving in the fourth industrial revolution. Now, this isn't just a nice idea. It's totally grounded in neuroscience. So let's geek out for a second. From a neuroscience perspective, emotional intelligence involves the integration of multiple brain regions: the prefrontal cortex for regulation and decision making, the limbic system, which includes the amygdala and the hippocampus, for emotional processing, and mirror neuron networks for empathy and social connection. So when you practice emotional intelligence, you're literally strengthening the connection between the logical, decision-making part of your brain and the part that processes feelings. You're firing up the empathy circuits that help you connect with others. Think about the chemistry of it. When we engage in trust building and connection, the brain releases oxytocin, a hormone neurotransmitter known as the bonding or love hormone, which strengthens social bonds and develops feelings of trust and openness. Conversely, high levels of stress trigger the release of cortisol, which impairs cognitive flexibility. It narrows our focus, and it can shut down or inhibit creativity and social openness. We know that practicing emotional regulation through mindfulness, somatic awareness, or even being present with a horse can physically rewire the brain, making us more resilient and attuned leaders. So literally, we're increasing the density and connectivity between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala, which processes emotions, particularly fear and stress. So this means that every time I choose presence over reactivity, connection over control, I'm reinforcing my brain's capacity to respond rather than to react. To stay grounded in that pressure situation, to lead with clarity, even when there's total uncertainty all around me. And so it's not just a lovely experience, it's neural training. All of this nurturing of your emotional intelligence, you're building a brain that's wired for care and connection. And that is something no AI will ever be able to simulate. So the first step in all of this, before you can regulate, before you can connect, before you can lead, is to know where you actually are right now. Remember how we talked about horses holding up a mirror to our emotional state? Sometimes we need a mirror like that in our own lives, especially when we're deep in the trenches of building a business. It's so easy to build a company while you yourself are starting to feel overwhelmed and disconnected. And you might not even realize that you're spiraling. That's exactly why I created a tool to be that mirror for you. I call it the Are You Spiraling assessment. It's a quick, simple quiz I designed specifically to help you see the subtle signs that things are heading off track. More importantly, it gives you 3 immediate actionable steps you can take to reclaim your sense of control and get that passion back. If you've ever felt like you're successful on the outside but struggling on the inside, this is for you. It's only 5 minutes to check in with yourself, find out if you're spiraling before it's too late. You can take the assessment right now. The link will be in the show notes. It's in my Podia website. And then let's look at ways to really develop that emotional intelligence in practical ways. So I'm going to give you 5 points here. And the first one is practice presence. I know I talk about this on a regular basis, but I'm going to say it again. Just like standing quietly with a horse, start by simply being. Breathe, feel your body, and tune into your environment. This grounds your nervous system and opens your capacity to listen. Very essential in leadership. Second one is notice your energy. What emotion or tension are you carrying right now? Notice where it is in your body, and then notice how it might impact the people around you. Third point, pause before reacting. Horses respond to hesitation and to calmness. And as leaders, pausing allows us to choose our response rather than react impulsively. Create that empathy. Try to imagine what your team or colleagues might be feeling beneath the surface. Ask open questions, be curious, and then listen deeply. And finally, remember that leadership isn't just about output or efficiency. It's about the well-being of people and relationships. So as you go about your day, I invite you to pause and ask yourself, how am I showing up energetically in my leadership? Am I calm, open and present, or am I being reactive and closed? What emotions am I carrying that might be shaping my decisions or interactions? And then a final third point is, what ways can I develop a deeper empathy and connection, even during something crazy that's happening in the workplace? And remember, the future of leadership isn't about competing with AI. It's about deepening what matters to us as being truly human. It's about caring with intention, awareness, and heart. And that's it for today. I know the horses have got power in this area, and I really invite you to practice some of these steps I've shared. Thanks for joining me on the Reins of Leadership. Remember to lead with presence and influence with trust. Subscribe for more insights and find resources at merindasmith.podia.com.